All right, guys. So my name is Freddie Sandoval,
I'm Megan Ekstrand.
I'm Emily Policastro.
I'm Zach Stanley.
and this is our business problem. So we came up with the problem when I currently work at Nike, and I started noticing that a lot of women were shopping at the men's department instead of the women's department. So I was a little curious to find out why that was. So I decided to ask a few people and listen to their feedback. And I got pretty much the same answer for every girl that I asked. They pretty much just said that the color options Nike gave women were usually just pink, yellow, purple, like super like stereotypical for a female. And they gave men like more of a neutral colors, which would be like black and gray. And these women, that's what they were looking for. They were looking for products that were more neutral colors and not so much of the pink and purple. So how does this relate to consumer behavior? So like I said, we started noticing that women were a little disappointed by the fact that Nike, a big company like Nike, was kind of like forcing them to buy like color products that were in that specific color of their genders, and it becomes a problem because every person has an individual taste. Not every man has to wear a black shoe, and not every woman has to wear a pink shoe. And it became a really big problem when there was women who were forced into buying pink shoes or forced into buying men's shoes just because that's what they were looking for. And it started becoming like really difficult to find product that you actually like the color of.
So why do we care? Nike's way of marketing its products by gender and color is worthy of our attention because the clothing industry as a whole is beginning to use more interchangeable dialogue when it comes to clothing. Men and women are becoming more accepted every day in their individual styles, and it is not uncommon to see men dress in women's clothing and women dressing in men's clothing. As the leading sports apparel company, Nike's current business practices are out of date, and the company needs to become more inclusive so everyone can achieve their desired style they want, regardless of gender. It is important to acknowledge that Nike is no longer just an apparel company for competitive athletes. The company now holds a responsibility to many different people because their products have become a style statement for many non-athletes, and the company should acknowledge these consumers. And if Nike fails to do this, their reputation could be damaged. And although the quality of the apparel might not be in question, the company may not be as gender neutral as they could be in the eyes of consumers. So the current business practices that Nike uses that heighten the business problem are the segmentation of women's clothing and men's clothing in different sections of the stores and the emphasis on these products' colors over their performance. In many Nike stores, men and women have dedicated sections, and the product colors are vastly different in these two sections. The business practice of separating men's and women's clothing is a common practice in many different stores and different brands. However, Nike is in a unique situation because as a sports apparel company, their products largely perform the same regardless if they have the men's or women's label attached to them. The sole difference in these products' capabilities is the colors that are available and the performance. And performance is important to any high-end athlete, but in many cases, Nike puts equal emphasis on the color of the product, and they try too hard to make the product appeal to a gender, each gender that they're trying to reach. Female athletes want to know how well a product is going to perform, not if the product's color is pink. Limiting style options and colors for consumers does not take their individuality into account, and it creates an unnecessary divide between the brand and the consumer.
All right, so why is it important from the point of view of the consumers, the business, and society? So first, on the consumer's behalf, it makes shopping a lot more difficult with limited in-store options. So they're serving gender-based styles and colors in a very specific manner. So it's hard to find what the consumer actually wants and needs. For the business, it could decrease in-store sales and also just disrupt their brand image. So Nike is known for being a promoter of equality, and this is kind of a step in the wrong direction for them and could make the consumers lack trust with the brand. So then for society as well, women are starting to lean away from the girly stereotype. So this is kind of a step in the wrong direction again, and it's a less fluid ideas of gender. So some recommendations, unisex line, an annual unisex line would be a very creative way that's socially trendy right now. So I think it'd be a big hit for a unisex annual rollout. And then also the integration of women's and men's sections just logistically in the store. So with their display, obviously you want to keep certain things separate for fit and size reasons, but it would just be make for a more open environment if they integrated the sections a little better. And then lastly, just pulling those neutral tones that are available for women online into their stores, so the in-store experience is just a little better for women.
So some of the implications that our recommendations before could have is that some women still might prefer the like pink and purple colors of the options that they were provided before our recommendations. And then it could become confusing for in-store shopping, just having like the sections not be separated anymore, just for, because obviously women need like sports bras and stuff that men don't need. So it could be confusing, but I think it could be done in a way that wouldn't be as confusing to customers. So what we learned overall from our research was that we can see that Nike, especially online, is trying more to like provide those neutral colors for both women and men. And then in a Mintel report that we found, most women prefer more practical and comfortable clothing, and that sometimes cannot be the case with like tighter fitting workout clothes and like just uncomfortable clothes that are made for women. So we believe that Nike should start to create a more inclusive store to make shopping easier and more beneficial for its customers. And we noticed that Nike isn't the only athletic store that does this, but we primarily focused on Nike because of our Freddie works there, and a lot of us have experienced that in our like going into a Nike store already. So we just had personal experience with Nike, and we don't believe that they're doing anything that's crucially wrong, because they are doing some of these unisex options online, but we just would like to see that put into play at their stores as well. Any questions?